What if the Minnesota Wild didn't sign Zach Parise and Ryan Suter? In the 2012 offseason, the Minnesota Wild signed both Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. At the time, it was a great move, but now both players are starting to decline at a rapid rate. What if the Minnesota Wild didn't sign Zach Parise and Ryan Suter? How would this impact the NHL? Instead of signing with the Minnesota Wild, Ryan Suter and Zach Parise signed with the Detroit Red Wings. Now that the Red Wings have both Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, they need to make some trades to free up some cap room. The Red Wings trade Jiri Hudler and Ian White to the Buffalo Sabres for Andrej Sekera and a 4th round pick in 2012. The Red Wings also trade Todd Bertuzzi and Jonathan Ericsson to the New York Islanders for Blake Comeau and a 5th round pick in 2012. The Minnesota Wild do a full-on rebuild. Minnesota Wild trade Danny Heatley to the Florida Panthers for a 1st round pick in 2012. In the 2012 draft, the Minnesota Wild draft Matt Dumba 7th overall, Brady Shea 23rd overall, Frederik Andersen 68th overall, and Alexander Kerfoot 127th overall. Changes in the 2012 draft: St. Louis drafts Mike Matheson, the Rangers draft Jordan Schmaltz, Anaheim drafts Andreas Athanasiou, Detroit drafts Jacob Slavin, and Carolina drafts Colin Miller. The Minnesota Wild don't trade for Jason Pominville, so they keep their 1st round pick in 2013. The Wild had a terrible 2012-2013 season and ended with a 6th pick in the draft. While the Red Wings have a much better season, they lose in the conference finals to the Chicago Blackhawks. Vancouver Canucks trade Corey Schneider to the Edmonton Oilers for Oscar Klefbom and a 1st round pick in 2013. At the 2013 draft, the Wild trade down. They trade pick 36 to the Washington Capitals for picks 53 and 61. In the 2013 draft, the Minnesota Wild draft Sean Monahan 6th overall, Artturi Lehkonen 53rd overall, and Zach Sanford 61st overall. In the 2013 draft, the Detroit Red Wings draft Ryan Hartman 27th overall and Tyler Bertuzzi 58th overall. Changes in the 2013 draft: Calgary drafts Bo Horvat, Vancouver drafts Darnell Nurse, New Jersey drafts Max Domi, and Phoenix drafts Anthony Mantha. Minnesota Wild don't sign Keith Ballard and Matt Cook in free agency. Detroit Red Wings don't sign Daniel Alfredsson and Stephen Weiss in free agency. Minnesota Wild signed Mike Ribeiro and Jerome McGinley in free agency. Detroit Red Wings signed Jaromir Jagr to a 2-year deal in free agency. Danny Heatley is bought out by the Florida Panthers and signs with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Red Wings end up winning the Stanley Cup in the 2013-2014 season. In the 2014 draft, the Columbus Blue Jackets select Dylan Larkin. Detroit Red Wings trade Johan Franzen to the Arizona Coyotes for a 2nd round pick in 2015. Nicholas Cromwell is traded to the Dallas Stars for a 2nd round pick in 2014 and a 3rd round pick in 2015. The Edmonton Oilers trade Devin Dubnyk to the Buffalo Sabres for a 3rd round pick in 2014. Both the Minnesota Wild and Detroit Red Wings have excellent regular seasons. The two teams end up meeting in the finals, and Detroit ends up winning the series in 6 games. The trade for Corey Schneider by the Oilers changes history, as the Oilers end up with the 6th pick in the draft. The Buffalo Sabres end up winning the draft lottery. At the 2015 draft, the Columbus Blue Jackets trade pick 8 to the Ottawa Senators for pick 18 and 36. Then the Red Wings trade pick 30 to the Pittsburgh Penguins for pick 46 and a 3rd round pick in 2014. In the 2015 draft, the Minnesota Wild draft Sebastian Aho 29th overall and Oliver Kylington 60th overall. Changes in the 2015 draft: the Buffalo Sabres get Connor McDavid, Arizona Coyotes draft Jack Eichel, Edmonton Oilers draft Mikko Rantanen, New Jersey Devils draft Zach Werenski, Colorado Avalanche draft Brock Besser, Columbus Blue Jackets draft Kyle Connor, Carolina Hurricanes draft Mackenzie Blackwood, and the Red Wings draft Daniel Sprong. Dallas Stars acquire Cam Talbot from the New York Rangers for Antti Niemi and a 2nd round pick in 2017. Then, the Rangers buy out Antti Niemi's contract and he signs with the Montreal Canadiens. Minnesota Wild trade Alex Kerfoot and a 3rd round pick in 2017 to the Arizona Coyotes for Michael Stone and a 2nd round pick in 2017. The Minnesota Wild will get to the conference finals, but they will lose to the San Jose Sharks, while the Detroit Red Wings get eliminated easily in 5 games by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 1st round. At the 2016 draft, the Columbus Blue Jackets trade pick 3 to the Carolina Hurricanes for picks 13, 21, and 43. Changes in the 2016 draft: the Carolina Hurricanes draft Clayton Keller, Edmonton Oilers draft Pierre-Luc Dubois, Arizona Coyotes draft Mikhail Sergachev, Buffalo Sabres draft Alex DeBrincat, and the Chicago Blackhawks draft Samuel Girard. The Columbus Blue Jackets draft Charlie McAvoy, Julian Gauthier, and Yanni Kokkonen in the 2016 draft. The Red Wings don't re-sign Darren Helm and Justin Abdelkader. They also don't sign Franz Nelson in free agency. The Red Wings signed Mike Green, Eric Stahl, Mikhail Bodker, Michael Grabner, Braden Peary, and Carter Hutton in free agency. Detroit Red Wings trade Peter Mrazek and Riley Sheahan to the St. Louis Blues for Ryan Reeves and a 3rd round pick in 2017. The Red Wings also trade Danny DeKeyser to the Columbus Blue Jackets for William Karlsson and a 3rd round pick in 2016. During the 2016-17 season, the Minnesota Wild don't trade for Martin Hansel. The Minnesota Wild end up losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stanley Cup Finals, while the Red Wings lose to the Penguins in the conference finals. The Minnesota Wild don't don't trade Alex Tuch to Vegas, so he remains on the Minnesota Wild. There are no major changes in the 2017 draft. The Minnesota Wild trade Charlie Coyle to the New Jersey Devils for a second-round pick in 2018 and a third-round pick in 2019. Tampa Bay Lightning trade Jonathan Drouin to the New York Islanders for Ryan Pulock and a second-round pick in 2019. The Red Wings don't sign Trevor Daley in free agency. Minnesota Wild signed Alex Radulov in free agency. Toronto Maple Leafs signed Antti Raanta in free agency, and the Arizona Coyotes signed Robin Lehner in free agency. During the 2017-18 season, the Colorado Avalanche trade Matt Duchene and Colin Wilson to the Buffalo Sabres for Rasmus Ristolainen, Johan Larsson, and a first-round pick in 2019. The Minnesota Wild lost again in the first round to the Winnipeg Jets, while the Detroit Red Wings lose again in the first round to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Changes in the 2018 draft. The Hurricanes get Rasmus Dahlin, the Coyotes get Andrei Shevchnikov, the Canucks get Philip Zadina, the Rangers get Evan Bouchard, and the Oilers get Quinn Hughes. The Minnesota Wild trade Nino Niederreiter to the New York Rangers for Vladislav Nemestikov and a second-round pick in 2019. The Buffalo Sabres trade Ryan O'Reilly and Jake McCabe to the Calgary Flames for Dougie Hamilton, Michael Furland, and a first-round pick in 2019. The Columbus Blue Jackets acquire Alex Edler from the Vancouver Canucks for Ryan Murray, Julian Gauthier, and a first-round pick in 2020. Buffalo Sabres trade Kyle Oposo to the Florida Panthers for a second-round pick in 2018. The Buffalo Sabres signed Calvin DeHaan in free agency, the Minnesota Wild signed John Moore in free agency, and the Detroit Red Wings signed Valtteri Filppula in free agency. There are 6 teams most affected by the Minnesota Wild not signing Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. Those teams are the Minnesota Wild, the Detroit Red Wings, the Buffalo Sabres, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Edmonton Oilers, and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Buffalo Sabres end up with a core of Connor McDavid, Matt Duchene, Jeff Skinner, Dougie Hamilton, Alex DeBrincat, and Devin Dubnyk. The Columbus Blue Jackets now have a core of Artemi Panarin, Dylan Larkin, Seth Jones, Alex Edler, Charlie McAvoy, Cam Atkinson, Kyle Connor, and Sergei Bobrovsky. Carolina Hurricanes now have a core of Clayton Keller, Elias Lindholm, Troy Teravainen, Rasmus Dahlin, Noah Hannafin, Justin Falk, and Mackenzie Blackwood. The Edmonton Oilers are the biggest losers, as they missed out on McDavid. 2018-19 Minnesota Wild. The first line is Jason Zucker, Sean Monahan, and Alex Radulov. The second line is Mikael Granlund, Sebastian Aho, and Arturi Lehkonen. The third line is Vladislav Nemestikov, Mikko Koivu, and Alex Tuch. Fourth line is Zach Sanford, Eric Fair, and JT Brown. First D pair is Jonas Brodin and Matt Dumba. Second D pair is Brady Shea and Jared Spurgeon. Third D pair is John Moore and Michael Stone. Goaltenders are Frederick Anderson and Alex Taylock. 2018-19 Detroit Red Wings. The first line is Tyler Bertuzzi, William Karlsson, and Gustav Nyquist. The second line is Zach Parise, Eric Stahl, and Daniel Sprong. The third line is Mikael Boedker, Valtteri Filppula, and Michael Grabner. Fourth line is Brandon Peary, Luke Glendening, and Ryan Reeves. The first D pair is Ryan Suter and Philip Hronek. Second D pair is Jacob Slavin and Mike Green. Third D pair is Dennis Cholowski and Nick Jensen. Goaltenders are Jimmy Howard and Jonathan Bernier. Long-term IR, Henrik Zetterberg. If the Minnesota Wild didn't sign Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, the whole landscape of the league would be different. Next, what if a team was built only with players drafted after the 6th round, starting from 2000?